Right here I've got one of my all-time favorites. That's pretty much just a solid black. And anything in black is probably the best all-purpose color you can use, in my opinion. It works in a lot of different situations. Open water in the shade or underneath matted vegetation. And you know, when the frogs first came out, they were designed to fish on real thick matted stuff, stuff that you couldn't fish another bait around, and you pull those fish up from underneath the mat. And you know, since then we've found that it's really a more versatile bait than what it was originally intended for, and we can throw it in little shady pockets and things like that, underneath bushes. You know, it's virtually snag free, so you can get it into places that you can't get other baits. And it allows you to throw a topwater bait underneath or down in a bush or underneath a boat dock and things like that. And you know, so it's extremely versatile. It's an all-terrain vehicle. You can throw it anywhere you want to throw it in shallow water. You know, if you get away from the black and you're choosing colors, I always recommend anytime you're trying to choose a color for a pattern or an area is to consider what you think the fish might be feeding on. I start with black if I don't really know. But if I'm starting to see a lot of brim beds and things like that in the area that I'm fishing, this color scheme right here, just a soft pearl and green, something that mimics a brim, it works really good. And this color scheme right here actually works pretty good to mimic shad too. But you know, another effective place to use it is early post spawn on the shad spawn and things like that. And you can throw a white frog and walk it around whatever, you know, those shad, they get up there and flicker around different boat docks, seawalls, grass beds, anything like that early in the morning, and a frog allows you to work that right through those areas where those shad are spawning and the fish are feeding on them near the surface. So there's your white frog, and that's a great choice as well, especially if you think they're feeding on shad. And then you get into another style frog that's got the kicking style feet. You know, we used to have to use only a soft plastic bait with the kicking feet on it. And this one right here has got some pretty tough feet that hold up to a lot of abuse. And this actually can be fished similar to the way you'd fish a prop bait. But if you try to throw a prop bait into one of these scummy mats or something like that, it wouldn't happen. The stuff would just be wadded up on there. And so this allows you to fish a bait like a prop bait, but in areas you couldn't get that prop bait into. So it pushes a lot of water, causes a lot of commotion, and it's a different look compared to some of the traditional frogs that we're using. So as far as rod and reel and line selection for me, it's always braided line. I use a 50-pound Seagar Kanzen braid. We've got another one coming out called Smackdown that's going to be really awesome. And I'm using a Halo. This is a 7.3 heavy action rod. And I use this when I'm throwing into the heavier mats, when I've actually got to lift those fish up out of that really thick stuff. And this works great for me. This particular reel, I think this is a 7-to-1, but a 6-4-to-1 reel works just fine. You're usually fishing at a somewhat slower pace or walking the bait in open water. So I don't think gear ratio is really as critical as the line and the rod that you're using. Now, when I'm fishing in open water situations, like I'm just fishing shade, and accurate casts are real important, or I'm skipping the bait underneath a dock or a bush or something like that, I really prefer this medium heavy action rod. It's got a little bit more tip to it. The braid takes out a lot of that stretch, so you still get a really solid hook set, and you can move the fish out when you set the hook. But that little bit of extra tip allows you to get a lot better, a lot more accurate cast, a softer presentation, and a little bit of trajectory as you skip that bait up under a piece of cover. So this is the Halo Twilight series. This is a 7.3 medium heavy action, and it also allows you to walk the bait really good on the surface. And that's the key presentation. When you're fishing open water style stuff, you're just not pulling that bait on a straight retrieve. You want to walk it back and forth just like it was some type of hard plastic topwater bait, and it'll absolutely smash them. But man, if you want to have some fun late summer, early fall, and you got vegetation, or if you got shade, we've all got shade on our lake somewhere, this frog is a great way to catch some big bass in shallow water. Give it a try.
That's where old boy was last time. Oh, that's a good one, son. Get it. Get it. Right there. Oh, he's behind it. Holy Moses. That was a big one. Got him. Got him. Talking, that's so freaking awesome, man. Oh man, this is awesome. He's not as big as I thought he was, but oh, just the anticipation.